So both for the tech newbies and the very advanced people, there should be good stuff here for everyone. All right. And this is being presented by me, David Gunther, certified network technician. Like I said a bit ago, usually me and Shane double team these, but he's got an important meeting, so I'm going to be taking care of you for the whole hour. If you have questions at any point during the presentation, feel free to drop them in the chat, and I will get to them as I get to them. We do have a pretty small group, so I'll try and make sure if anything pops up, I answer it at the end of the slider section that I'm on. All right. Right. Cool. So let's get right on to it. All right. Who are the hackers? Are they the hoodie goons, as you may have seen in many different movies and television shows? Are they nation states that are trying to get our data here in the US? Are they computer nerds living in their mom's basement? So the answer is a little bit more nuanced than that. Obviously, there is some combination of all three of those people who are doing hacking right now, but for the majority, the hackers are now motivated by money. Uh, it used to be, you used to get viruses back years ago that would, show a funny graphic on your computer and then try to blow up your hard drive or shut it down or whatever. Nowadays, this is all pretty much financially motivated. They want data, they want to steal money, they want to get these things illegally. And so it is more organized criminals or just unorganized lone criminals in other countries where they don't prosecute this as much. So, what do they want? Your data that can be used for money-making ventures, your financial data, your personal data, your identity that they can use for identity theft, your contacts that they can then use to spread their attacks to other people, using you as a vector to try and trick those people into thinking that, you need money from them that they can get. Business data. They want the financial info. They want employee data. They want trade secrets that they can sell or hold for ransom. Vendor info. Who do you do business with that they can attack? Ransomware. They want to lock up your files and make you pay to unlock them. And your customer data. More vectors of attack. Personal information. They want your IP address that can be used to identify your computer, your driver's license, your physical address, medical info, passport, credit card info, email address, even your social security number. Now, some of those things, personally or business wise, it may not seem like a big deal if they have one of those. But the more pieces of data that they can put together, the more of a complete picture they have of a business or of you as a person, the better attack they can do, the more they can steal, the more they can take advantage of that. So you want to make sure, even if some of these things are publicly available, your email address, for example, your physical address can be easy to find, but the more pieces of data in conjunction with that, the better they'll be able to attack you. So you want to keep those things separate, keep a lot of those hidden, keep as much as you can not together, and don't put too much information in the same place. And we'll talk about some of those places soon. Why should we care? A lot of us here are not Fortune 500 companies. You may think we're not big enough for them to go after us. The data just doesn't show that. As you can see, the percentage of cyber attacks against business by size, the large ones are getting hit more, sure, but not that much more. 57% versus 43% for small and medium businesses. It's almost as much. If you can attack a bunch of smaller businesses, which probably are not going to have the enterprise level security of the big businesses, you can make a smaller payday more times and still make as much money, as opposed to having to hit the big fish, which is going to be a lot of work and a lot of effort to get one big payoff. As you can see there, the average cost of a small and medium business data breach is $3.31 million. Now that, of course, isn't just the money they'll steal. That is the stolen money, remediation and system repair, fines, regulatory and compliance, legal and public relations fees, increases in insurance premiums, and then indirect costs of maybe damage to your brand, to your reputation, things like that. Customers who will leave because they know you've been hit by a breach because you're required to publicly disclose it. And because of that 3.31 million and because of that loss of reputation and things like that, 60% of small businesses fail within 6 months of ransomware. That is a big number. We do not want you to become part of that statistic. So if you don't have $3.31 million laying around that you're perfectly willing to give up for a data breach, I suggest you keep listening. All right. Now, the human element. Most attacks will originate from outside your domain. Yes, we don't expect that one of your employees is going to be the one to attack you in most cases. But most breaches are the result of an internal human error. It is a mistake made by somebody on the inside that lets one of those attackers in. So, how can you avoid being the one to make that mistake? First of all, let's do a quick knowledge check. How much money are you going to save your company today by learning how to prevent a security breach? AKA, what's the average cost of a small and medium business data breach? I'm going to go ahead and pop up that poll right now. You should see it coming up soon. By the way, these polls help us track engagement and things like that. So please, oh, it says voting closed. Hold on. That should be active. Are you able to vote on that? Do you see the poll?
I only see voting closed.
I don't see a poll.
Yeah.
I know the answer
It
though.
has dollar amounts.
It has dollar amounts.
Mhm.
All right. Weird. Try one more time. There we go. Can you vote
There we
now?
go.
Ta-da!
Yeah.
Live technology. All right. Yep. Put your answer in there. The more of you that participate in the polls, the more we can make sure we have the right list to send out those lunch gift cards at the end. So participation helps us get you fed.
I'm still unable to vote. Keep saying loading. Try reloading.
Huh.
Just let you know. Yep. I'll keep reloading and see if that works.
Okay. Yeah, it might be you're running a bit of an older version of WebEx or something that's not playing nice with the app, but it looks like most of the people we've got the votes in there.
Okay, got it.
Okay. Well, don't worry about it. If you can't vote, you can't vote. Looks like most of these are working, so I've got 10 votes in here. How many are in our participants list? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 12, including me. Okay, and the one who can't. All right, perfect. Looks like we got all the votes in. Okay. Well, there we go. Let's close voting. And can y'all see the results there? 80% said 3.31 million. 10% said 331,000 and 10% said 33.1 million. The correct answer is 3.31 million. That is the correct answer there. Yeah, that's a lot of money. We don't want you to become the victim of something that costs that much. All right. Go ahead and stop that poll. Cool. So let's move on. The human firewall. Now, obviously, you've got your electronic firewalls in place. You've got your security gadgets that are preventing things and keeping people out. But what we like to call the human firewall is how you yourself as employees and people will contribute to cybersecurity, how you can help keep those attacks from getting all the way through. Because there's definitely a human element and human error that contributes, as we said. Social engineering is still one of the most popular hacking methods, and it's not high tech at all. It's just using psychology to trick people into granting access or giving information that they shouldn't. So common tactics, they'll research social media profiles. There's a lot of data on there that can be used to give you enough information to pretend to know somebody. They'll pretend to be somebody. They're not your boss, your family, your vendor, whoever they think they can, properly impersonate enough to make you believe that they're that person to where you'll give them the information. A lot of scare tactics. Act now or else. They're always going to be this urgency to them. What I like to say is they want you to act before you can think. And so the more they can scare you, the more they can trigger that fight or flight thing to where you have to just go, oh, I can't. Okay, give them. Yeah. Here's the information. Please help keep me safe from whatever horrible thing you're talking about. The more that they can make you act or give them information or do those things before you can stop and think, wait a minute, there's some red flags here, the better that they're off. So always best to stop and think in those situations and don't be afraid. Nothing's ever that urgent. if somebody's calling you about it. And if it is, if we're calling you about something urgent, we're already doing things about it. So don't worry so much. Stop and think, do we have some red flags here? Happens over the email, happens over the phone, and it even happens in person. We've actually seen people try to get into offices dressed up as delivery people, dressed up as service technicians. We have not had anybody put on a Leash and Knock t-shirt and walk into somebody else's office pretending to be one of our employees yet, but I have heard it happen to other Tucson IT companies. So it is definitely something that could happen to you. All right. And let's move on. Social media, or social med, as the kids are calling it. I don't think anybody's actually calling it that. What's wrong with this post here? So what you may think is an innocent, like making a joke about, hey, I can't use this for my employee badge, this goofy pose. There are some security risks already inherent with that. For example, right there, you've got an exact picture of what an employee badge looks like for that company. That somebody could easily look at online and go, yeah, I can replicate that. I can make something that looks exactly like that. That'll get me into the building right there. Also, there's a barcode at the bottom that is absolutely scannable. If that's the sample photo, you retake it and it's still using the same barcode because that's linked to your company ID or something like that. Guess what? You've just given them even more information about that with just what you thought was a goofy Instagram post. So social media can be potentially dangerous. What you think may just be an innocent, fun thing could potentially expose information. So you need to just take that brief second to stop and think, is this something risky that I'm putting online? Another thing that seems very innocent and innocuous are all these Facebook polls that a lot of people like to post on. You can see all these have hundreds and thousands of comments. These are all questions designed to have you give up information. For example, when you were setting up a website and it asks you to set up a security question, what are all of those questions usually about? Where you were married, your middle name and the first car you had, where you were born, your mother's maiden name, things like that. These are all basically just fishing for information. So do not respond to these quizzes, even if it looks fun, even if your friends are doing it. These are basically just information gathering techniques that are set up by scammers to mine information on potential victims. All right. And social media is a gold mine. The things that you like on social media could potentially be used against you if you use those as part of your passwords, for example. You see here the 50 most used passwords. A lot of these are just numeric things that you know not to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in password and things like that. But baseball, football, Michael, Superman, your hobbies, your interests, your family members' names, things like this could be used as a password. If you have those on social media, keep them out of your passwords. It makes it super easy to guess if they know what you're into and what you're into is also used as part of or your entire password. Then you've pretty much just handed it to the scammers who can easily look at your Facebook and say, oh, yeah, look at there. They're super into Superman. I bet you Clark Kent is their password. So let's talk about how to set good passwords. What defines a weak password? Right here, this is a scary table that we love to show people. Time it takes a hacker to brute force your password in 2023. I guarantee we've seen in previous years, these purple regions have been all the way up here, just been slowly spreading across the whole chart. It gets worse every year as computers get faster and processors get more powerful, and these passwords become easier and easier to crack because you can't compete with computing power. So you can see right now, for example, the old standard that used to be all over the place, and in fact is still unfortunately all over the place, is say an 8-character password with numbers, upper and lowercase letters, and symbols. And you can see right there, it takes 5 minutes to crack that now. That used to be the gold standard. That used to be, hey, we're replacing smaller passwords. You have to have at least 8. It's no good. 8 characters just ain't gonna cut it. 10 characters, you move up to that. That used to be, people who were extra picky would bump it up to that. That now takes 2 weeks. So really, if you want to be absolutely secure, you're going to need at least a 12-character password. That'll push you into the 226 years. 11's good too, for now. Wait till the 2024 chart comes out, though. I guarantee it'll be scarier. If you can push into the 13, 14, 15, now you're hitting, 77 million years. It'll be, yeah. Even as these creep down, you just want to make sure that your password is going to live longer than you. So make sure that you're setting something in the yellow, orange, or green ranges here. Stay out of the red. All right. Moving on. How do I make a good password? So this is a technique that I learned from a security researcher and I use for a lot of my passwords because, man, is it good, both for making a password that is easy to remember but hard for computers to crack. And that's a tough intersection to find. So this phrase method, I'll take an easy to remember phrase. This is not one that I use in my actual passwords. Don't worry. And then I'm going to take the first letter of every word and convert it into all the letters, numbers, and symbols you need to qualify for all the password requirements. So my key phrase, Lee Shinnok Network Solutions is the best IT provider in the world, and we've been open since 1997. Then I'll take that Lee Shinnok Network Solutions is the best IT provider in the world, exclamation mark, because I'm so excited about that, and that 97 that we've been open since. That is a password that is now super long, super hard for a computer to parse. It just looks like a bunch of jumbled up capital letters and lowercase letters, and then add some numbers and symbols at the end. That's pretty much uncrackable. That's the 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 characters that was in the either yellow or green on that chart. And I've already memorized it if I can memorize this phrase here and then just convert it every time I need my password. So pick your own phrase, your favorite song lyric, your favorite quote, your favorite poem, anything like that, that preferably has, somewhere in that nice 15, 16, 17 word range. Convert it, commit it to memory. And then bam, you've got yourself a password that you remember, that you can type in every time with maybe a little thought, but that you will not forget because it's important to you. All right. Now, then, of course, you have to remember 1,000 passwords for all the websites and things like that you need to log into. Well, we recognize that that's pretty much impossible in this day and age. So we say use a password manager. This is the one that we use for businesses here, Keeper. It is also available for personal use as well, if you'd like that. If you're shopping around, there are a lot of other good personal ones. Just remember to find something that is secure and has good ratings. But the features of that, it can auto-generate super strong passwords that you'll never have to remember. There's a secure vault, two-factor authentication, safe sharing, usage tracking, secure notes like that you can put, for example, those security question details. It'll keep those locked down too. The business class ones will, sorry, I'm hearing a lot of background noise on there. Somebody's not muted. That would be cool if you could do that. Yeah, so these password managers, they'll plug right into your web browser. They'll auto plug in those passwords on all the websites that you need to remember. The more stuff you store in them, the less that you have to remember as a person. And that's a whole load off your mind that you really could use. So I recommend set up a password manager, set up one for business, set up one for your personal life, and use them both frequently and make sure that those websites that you go to have super complicated passwords that nobody can crack that you never have to remember. So the new password strategy, you only need to remember 3 passwords. If you use that technique that I had, you can plug 3 phrases into your brain and keep track of those. Your computer and domain login, your personal password manager, your company password manager, and then you're done. So 3 big, long, super complicated passwords that you use my technique for, and that's it. So that should simplify your password life right there if you use that new password strategy. All right. Another quick knowledge check right here. How long would it take for a hacker to brute force a typical website password with standard minimum requirements, 8 characters, mixed letters, numbers, and symbols? And I'll activate that poll. Hopefully this one will work. Go ahead and pop your answers in there. Let's see who was paying attention to the scary chart. All right, we've got 5 votes in there, 7 votes, 9 votes, 10 votes. There we go. Okay, there's our 11 votes. Beautiful. So yes, the biggest answer right there, 5 minutes, is absolutely correct. That is your now pretty much minimum standard for most websites is 8 characters, mixed letters, numbers, and symbols. It's not good enough. 5 minutes is, yeah, it's just not going to cut it anymore. So we know that is the current standard minimum. Please do better than the minimum on websites like that. Please use a password manager that will let you make a more complicated one and let it save it for you. All right. Back to the presentation. Oop. All right, let's talk about multi-factor authentication. So what do we do in a world where passwords are probably not good enough anymore, where they're easy to steal? We set up another layer of security. So you'll hear this as 2FA or MFA a lot of the time. 2FA is two-factor authentication. MFA is multi-factor authentication. Generally, they mean pretty much the same thing unless you've got 3 different ways of identifying. But basically, it is something you know, like your password, something you have, like your cell phone or a token that generates a code, or something you are, like your fingerprint, your retina scanner, something like that. And then between those 2 layers, something you know, you have, you are, that will authenticate you as you for sure, and you're in. So it adds that extra layer of security for accessing your accounts when not just a password will do. Most online accounts will support MFA or 2FA. A lot of websites are putting it in now, especially the secure ones. I mean, your bank definitely does it. Your financial sites definitely do it. And we can implement it for your job as well if it does not already. Our preferred MFA app is Duo. There's a couple other good ones out there. Microsoft has an authenticator that they will plug into any Microsoft supported thing. We recommend doing that on those accounts. And Google has one as well. If you use their services, you can use the Google one, the Microsoft one. And we recommend Duo for absolutely everything else. And you can even set it up for Google and Microsoft as well with some working. So, of course, MFA is really fantastic. It really works. It adds that extra layer of security, and it really helps when your password's been stolen to keep people out. So, of course, the hackers are trying to find ways around it already because if it works that well, they need to break it. So be on the lookout for those unexpected push notifications, unexpected SMS codes, calls asking for a multi-factor authentication code. That means somebody has your password, they logged into your account, they hit that MFA barrier, and they could not get in. And now they're looking to reach out to you to see if they can sneakily get past that layer. So you'll get basically, a lot of the times they will call you and they'll say, hey, I'm from Bank of America, your bank. We noticed some suspicious activity on your account. Could you please read me the security code we sent you? They are not from Bank of America. They are a scammer who stole your password, logged into your account, hit that 2FA thing, and now they want you to give them the code so they can log all the way into your account and steal all your money. Do not give those codes out to anybody else, pretty much ever. You only want to accept push notifications when you know you're logging in. And make sure that those codes are just for you, just for when you log in. Don't give them out. The banks won't ask for them. People won't ask for them if they're legit. So there you go. Now let's talk about email phishing. It's still the #1 method to get people to download and install malicious payloads and click on bad web links. Phishing emails work. That's why they use them. It's been going around for years and years and years, and it has no signs of stopping. They're only getting better. So let's talk about phishing email examples. What are the signs? Looking at this one here, American Express, high importance, review your information. Due to recent activities, place a temporary suspicion until you verify your account. You need to review your information with us now. They give you the time. To continue using that, we advise you update the information about your account ownership. Hit a big button. For the security of your account, we advise you not to notify your account password to anyone. If you have problems updating it, please visit our support. Cool. If you see some shady signs there, that's already a good thing. Let's take a look at this one on the right here. Human Resources HR at presumably that's your company.com. W2 update. We're issuing you an amended Form 1040 for the calendar year on behalf of Adelia Associates LLC. An incorrect employer control number prompted the issuance of this amended form. If you already filed with the IRS, you'll need to complete and file an additional Form W-2C. The amended Form 1040 can be accessed below and should be reviewed immediately to ensure accuracy. As somebody who worked in tax for 5 years, I can tell you that's accurate. So that right there, if you noticed any warning signs there, then I would be very surprised. This is pretty much a perfect phishing email. The only sign was the suspicious link on there. This right here has plenty of things, though. Let's talk about that. Administraciones at pentagon-seguridad.cl. That's not an American Express email. That is definitely something shady right there. Temporary suspension right there, bad consequences, and of course, that sense of urgency wanting you to think or act before you can think. Right there, like I said earlier, they always will have some sense of urgency. They want to get you to do something now. They want you to panic. They want you to not be thinking. There's probably a shady link in there too. And right there, we advise you not to notify your account password to anyone. There's a bit of bad English there. Funny enough, that is a very good IT recommendation right there, is don't tell your account password to anyone. They're doing that to try and make it seem trustworthy. But yeah, you'll often see odd wording or things like that that make it sound like it's not from a native English speaker. You'll see that less and less, though, and I'll tell you why in just a bit. All right, so let's talk about how do you tell in a otherwise perfect phishing email that just has a bad link what the link is before you click it. So if you are on your computer and you hover over a link, it'll pop up the little preview right there, and you can see, hey, wait a minute, that's not a website that I want to go to right there. That's clearly bad. If you're on your mobile device, you can do the same thing by pressing down and holding that on your phone or other mobile device until a little preview thing pops up and gives you the actual link that you're going to. So be careful. Check the links before you click on anything in an email that sets off any red flags. And honestly, even if it doesn't, it never hurts to check a link. It only takes a couple seconds, and it makes sure that you're not going anywhere that you shouldn't be. Let's talk about malicious attachments. So the most common ones you'll see are .exe files, which are, of course, programs that will run on your computer. Most of the time, you should not be getting a .exe file unless somebody specifically says they are sending you a program that you need to run. Make sure you trust that before you click on those. Those are about the most risky thing you can run. .html attachments are almost always scammers. Those are just pulling up some sort of website that's going to probably give you a fake form, have you log in with information that it will then steal. There's pretty much no reason to legitimately send an HTML attachment unless you're doing some sort of weird web design thing. I don't know why I said weird. Web design is perfectly normal. Web designers are cool. Office documents now and PDF files also need to be kept out. Got to keep an eye out for those. PDF files and Office documents can have a lot of embedded things in them, embedded bad links, so they can have embedded code. Office documents, for example, have what are called macros, which are bits of code that can run within an Office document. If you see the security warning that says some active content has been disabled, that means that Office has discovered there's a macro that wants to run on here and said, hey, you downloaded this as an email attachment or got it from the web. We want to make sure that's cool. Make sure that you absolutely trust the sender before you hit enable content, because that will run basically like it's code. It's like downloading a .exe file in a Word document form. It's there to hide something, or it's just there to do a legitimate business task that requires accessing some other things on the network, some other Office documents, stuff like that. So make sure that you trust that sender before you run it, because that will be doing a lot of interesting things. Keep your head on a swivel. We know this is a lot of things to look out for, and obviously that's why we keep giving these trainings so you can keep that stuff fresh in your mind. The best defense is regular education. So you got a couple options there. You could attend a security webinar every day. I'm sure there are enough out there to where you could probably get to a different one every single day if you wanted. Or we can send you phishing emails, fake phishing emails that will look like regular emails. And instead of, when you click on the link, downloading a bunch of viruses to your computer, it will let you know that you messed up, you clicked a bad link in a phishing email, and it will give you a heads up so that next time you will recognize the signs a little bit better and be less likely to click that. It'll also put a big phishing alert button right there that will send the emails to us, or If it knows it's a fake one, it'll just say, hey, good job. You detected the fake one. So very useful for keeping that stuff fresh in your mind, constantly testing yourself to make sure that you are um, getting those phishing emails and you can recognize the signs before you click on a bad one. If you do get a risky email and you don't have that magic phishing alert button, like I just talked about, here's the best way to send it to IT so that we get the most information from it. Right click the email down there, hit copy, create a new email to IT support at leishanok.com, paste the email as an attachment in the body of that email, and that'll give us the original email that you got. If you forward it to us, we'll get the information that it was sent from your email server, from your email address, that kind of thing. If you give us the original, we can check the original email server and see if it was maybe a legit email or maybe not. So we recommend that. Gives us a little bit more information to work with. And that is a good way to make sure that we have all of the data that we need to make a decision on whether it's a scam or not. All right. Got another knowledge check for you. Let's see how good you are at identifying phishing emails. So this one right here, is this a phishing email and why? I'm going to go ahead and open up that poll. It'll be type out your answer there. Tell me if that's a phishing email and tell me why, if so. Show your work. I want to see that long division. All right. You've got 8 people responded. A couple of you are still writing. I'll give it a minute. But we got a few of these, so okay. Okay. We got 10 in there. I think that's just about everyone. If you're still typing, you've got a couple minutes to finish. But yeah. As I'm seeing a lot of yes, yes, yes. What do we got? Domain is weird looking. Not a Wells Fargo email address. Grammatical errors, sense of urgency. Email address is not real. Got one no. Banks send you out to verify your accounts via email. That is true. That would be a legitimate email for a bank to send, but yeah, the signs are definitely there that is definitely a phishing email. And there are some weird grammar used. We appreciate your compliance with odd capitalization down there. Yeah, you can see, yeah, that's a .de. That comes from Germany. That is definitely not where Wells Fargo is. And yeah, that their sense of urgency, the call to action. Yeah, a lot of those big red flags are right there. That is definitely not Wells Fargo, and you should not click that link. I can pretty much guarantee that'll be a funky one. All right, we got another one for you. Is this a phishing email, and why? Hopefully that's readable. I know that text is a little bit small, but we close this poll and open up the next. Number 2. How about this one? Let me know what you think. Yeah, that one says there. I'll read it out in case you are having trouble with it. But it says, "Hi, Pamela. Oops, as we work to fill your February Birchbox with awesome samples, we accidentally left out the amazing Rent the Runway offer we're sharing with all our subscribers this month. We're sending it your way now, and there's plenty of time to get on the fun. Your unique offer code is, and there's a big code there. Use your code at www.renttherunway.com between now and April 17th and get $30 off your order of $75 plus. You can place an order for delivery up to 4 months in advance, so you can reserve a dress for all those summer weddings and graduation parties we know you have on your calendar. We hope you enjoy, and we can't wait to see your outfit. XO Team Birchbox. Then there's a big image, all a bunch of social handles and app download and links at the bottom. Okay, got 2 votes in for that one. All right, got 5 votes in. Okay, 9 votes. Pretty good there. If you're still typing, go ahead and finish your answer. What have we got here? Looks legit. Email's legit. No, not phishing. No, not phishing. Looks good, but also depends if you receive a Birchbox subscription. That is a good point. Unexpected marketing emails from companies that you don't interact with is a good flag to check for. No, seems legit. Too small to read. Yeah, sorry about that. I did read it out for that reason. Not Birchbox HTTPS. That is true. There's no HTTPS. Generally, that's not a huge worry. Most people will encode the URL to make it as simple as possible. They'll just put the www in there. But yeah, that is a potential security concern. Most likely your browser will redirect to the HTTPS version. That is a good thing to check, though. If you do go to the site and it doesn't redirect you to a secure version, might be a little thing to heads up on. But yeah, that's a perfectly legitimate marketing email right there. Okay, one more knowledge check. Here's one last one for you. I'm going to close this one out and open up the last poll. This is the last one we got here. How about this? Is this a phishing email? This one's a bit bigger and easier to read, so sorry about the last one. We'll probably find a new example for the next one. All right, we got 6 votes in. 8, 9. All right, if you're still typing, go ahead and finish up, but let's take a look at this one. Okay. 10 votes, perfect. We got a lot of yes, yes, yes. That's phishing. Depends on your company's Microsoft setup and alert rules. That's true. If you don't get Microsoft alerts about phishing emails, that would definitely be concerning. Misspellings, email link, high severity. Yep, that's that urgency. Wants you to think before you can act. One looks legit. Spam fish details are computer generated. You can see a bit of odd formatting in there. I see where like the time is in a different font, severity high. Some of those things look awkward. There's no email in that too. That emailrecords.com is bad. That's correct. Yeah. So Microsoft at email-records.com, that's definitely a fake email. That's not a Microsoft email, or it would be at Microsoft.com. There's some odd formatting on there you can tell is a bit wonky. It is set up. You can tell that they probably copied a legitimate Microsoft alert email. And that's one of the things you need to watch out for is the hackers are definitely going to take real emails that exist and make their fake ones look exactly the same. So you want to check the links, check the emails. There's a couple weird things. There's no to email that was sent there. They probably took that out when they copy pasted it in there. And then changed the link to something else. So that one's a little bit trickier. It looks very legit, but it in fact is also a phishing email. All right, close that poll real quick and get back to it. All right, smishing and vishing. What do those terms mean besides being weird portmanteaus? What are they? Smishing and vishing. Smishing is SMS phishing, so using text messages to try and phish you. It may have attachments and links. It may have instructions to reply or call a phone number. The links, it is a bit harder to conceal a link in a text message. That is nice, but it may lead you to a fake website, which will steal your credentials. It may have malicious attachments that'll infect your device. And if you call that phone number, that'll be staffed by hackers, and they will try and do malicious things to you. What do you do if you get those texts that are clearly spam? Do not reply or call the number. What you can do is you can forward them to spam 7726. Most of your cell carriers and networks have that number set up to basically receive spam complaints in the forms of text. It'll help flag those numbers. It'll help them get taken down quicker, and so they can't keep using that number. And it'll potentially help flag the providers or whatever services that those people are using, because of course they're going to set up another number and another number and another number. But if too many of those get flagged, they may even have their service blocked in some ways. That'll make it harder for them to do that. So forward it to spam, delete the message, block the number if they keep sending them. Do not reply, even if they hit unsubscribe, even if you think it might be kind of fun to mess with a scammer. If you respond, they now know that you are a human being with an active cell phone number, and they will absolutely put you on more lists to get more spam. So it's best not to engage. Messenger apps. A lot of the scam scripts are saying, hey, I'd love to talk to you more. Could you download WhatsApp or Telegram or Google Chat, one of these apps, and we can talk there. From there, they will befriend you using social engineering techniques and eventually ask for money. These apps are free in foreign countries. A lot of the times, SMS services cost money there. So they want to get you off of there. If it's a US-based person for real, they're probably not going to ask you to do that. So don't move to, you know what they say, if you're about to get kidnapped, don't go to a secondary location. Don't do it with messenger apps either. They want to get you there so they can then try and do a long-term scam without having to pay for SMS fees. Keep them spending money. They're scammers. They deserve it. Or better yet, block them and don't engage the second that you know that that's a scam. Another good tip. If you're giving an hour webinar by yourself, stay hydrated. That's free non-IT advice for you. All right. Voice phishing. Bad actors will often call you, and then they'll try to get you to a fake website, try to get you to allow access to your computer, or try to, as I said before, steal your MFA codes by having you tell them over the phone so they can get all the way logged into your account. So these people will harvest phone numbers, spoof caller ID. It'll look like a legit call from so-and-so number, and then they will pose as a legitimate authority. That's fairly easy to do. Phone spoofing is not that hard. Remember, if somebody is reaching out to you with one of those urgent, major consequences if you don't act immediately, you need to do this right now, oh my goodness, horrible consequences things, you need to take that brief second to stop, think before you act, and then the best thing to do in those cases, if they're reaching out to you asking you for information, don't give them any. Say, hey, thank you, representative of Bank of America, or whatever you are calling from. I just keep using that as an example. I'm going to hang up with you, call my bank directly, and then I'm going to reach out to them personally. If they're a legitimate call, they'll be fine with that. They're okay. They want you to, if it's a legit call that's warning you about fraud or something, they want you to take action, but they want you to do it in a safe way. If they're a scammer, I guarantee they're going to immediately start yelling at you if you propose doing that, and then you hang up on them anyway, call your bank and make sure everything's cool. So if somebody calls you asking for information and you're not comfortable giving it to them, call the source directly. Go to the internet or go to a number that you know that you have, find a legitimate number, reach out, and then you can be comfortable giving information if you're the one that called them at a perfectly legit number. All right. Let's talk a little bit about AI. AI is making our job harder. A lot of the times, some of those things that could be used previously, in a lot of our examples, used weird formatting, weird spelling, odd turns of phrase that don't sound like a native English speaker. Well, with AI, now scammers can plug things into Chat GPT and get a very nice, nicely written urgent email right there. You can see from the example right there. Right. You can't put into Chat GPT, write me a good spam email. It's not going to do it, but you can say, write an urgent email to the captain of the maritime vessel from his workmate. Workmate name is Nick. Captain is 44. I found all this information on social media. He's from Denmark. He's the only child in his family. His mother's 92. Send a link in the email for a Skype connection. Ask him to install it at home. Mention it's urgent as his mother wants to speak to him about something very urgent and personal. It'll absolutely write all that out for you. So scammers are now basically harvesting information from social media, plugging it all into AI and saying, hey, write an urgent email saying that we need to notify this person of this, and then I'll drop in a link that's bad that they'll then download something from and get a virus. It makes it very easy for them to mimic native English speakers, write well. Obviously, these Chat GPT and AI tools are meant to help you write better. They're also helping the scammers write better. And of course, voice mimicry is something that AI is getting better and better at. As those tools become more widespread and more affordable, we're going to get a lot more phone calls from people who sound perfectly legitimately exactly like the person that they're trying to fake. So you want to be extra careful, even if it sounds like somebody you know, it may not be. And that's a bit scary, I know, but that unfortunately is the way things are going. Deep fake videos make it easy to scam people and generate misinformation. And AI can even help generate malicious code. You don't have to be a good hacker anymore. You can ask ChatGPT to write a script that will help you break into somebody's router. So all this stuff is making it easier and easier for the criminals to do what they do best. And unfortunately, we're in the world where we got to deal with it. All right. Search results. Yeah, let's look at this Google search right here. And let me know. I don't think I've checked the chat in a while. Has anybody been dropping in any questions? Nope, doesn't look it. Okay, just wanted to double check. Perfect. So which right here on this page is the first legitimate actual result? Well, this is a sponsored ad right here. This is a sponsored ad right here. This is a sponsored ad right here. This is the first legitimate result, unfortunately, down here at the bottom of the page. So because Google and Bing and pretty much every search engine now has become beholden to the companies that pay it for advertising space, a lot of these results are now whatever the paid advertisement is, and some of them are paid advertisements set up by non-legitimate sources that are going to direct you to a scam website, and we really don't want that. So we recommend skipping the sponsored results and going straight to whatever's underneath that. You can also do some things. You can install ad blockers that may be able to filter these out. There's other apps like that that we recommend. That'll help keep you a little bit safer. Ads are becoming a dangerous attack vector, unfortunately. And clicking some of those ads can take you to fake websites like this, where they'll pop up a bunch of scary things that say your computer's got 1 million viruses and you need to call Windows support immediately. And then they'll give you a fake phone number that you call, which will get you to a hacker who will help you close out that window and then try to get you to, in return for closing out the scary yelling window, let you break into your computer, and so they can start stealing data and installing malicious things. So you want to not click ads, and the best way to do that, I think, is to just install a free ad blocker. There's a couple ones we use in the office. uBlock Origin and AdBlock Plus are both good options, but there's a bunch of free ones out there that are legitimate. Just find a good rated one, install it, and then you can stop worrying about ads so much. It'll filter out a good amount of them and keep you a little bit safer online, so you don't accidentally click something that you shouldn't. And let's talk about computer permissions. So you're only able to do on your computer what you have permissions to do. And so whatever account that you're logged into right now, if it has full access to everything on your computer, it's got a lot of access to install bad things. If somebody were to get in, if you were to download that bad link, if you were to accidentally do that thing, it could just go right through and install the bad stuff. So if you are working an account without admin permissions, that means that you'll get hit by these every time that you try to install something, which will say, hey, you need to put in an account with admin credentials in order to be able to run this. That adds another layer of security that we've started implementing in our office. Most of our employees are on an account that doesn't have admin rights now. And if we need to install software or do something like that, we know an account with admin permissions that we can then plug in there in order to do the thing. But it just helps us if something were to slip through the cracks and we were to download and run a executable that had bad code in it, this would stop it from running until we entered in those accounts. And that gives us another heads up. If we think that we're doing something that, wait a minute, this shouldn't be installing something. Why is this link doing that? Why is this attachment doing that? That gives us that heads up of, okay, something's a little bit off here and we need to stop and take a minute. If you want to go one step further from that, there's a program that we started implementing for a lot of our clients called Threat Locker. And what that does is it installs on a computer, it strips out pretty much all the ability to make admin rights, and then it runs for a month, learning every program that you run regularly on your computer, that you set up, that you update, and kind of makes a baseline of what your normal behavior is. Anything you try to run in the background, try to do that, anything abnormal that it detects, it'll pop up this little thing that says, hey, we blocked this program from executing. You've never run this before. We don't recognize it. We don't have a rule for this. Request access if you want to allow it. It sends an install request to us. We'll review it. We'll make sure it's safe, and then we'll approve, deny, or request more info. We usually do that real quick so we don't hold up your day. And then you'll be able to install the software, run the update, run that little thing in the background, whatever you need to do. But it's a real good way to make sure that anything that tries to run, even those things that may not even need admin permissions, will be blocked by that until it's approved by your IT company. So we recommend getting that set up if you want the most secure option, or at the very least, run on an account that doesn't have those admin permissions, and then have an admin account that you can type in the credentials for if you do need to install something. Thumb drives, we'll do this real quick. If you find a thumb drive on the ground, if you find one out in the wild, if you get one from a source that you don't recognize, do not plug it into your computer. It's super easy to set up a thumb drive that you plug in and it immediately starts executing code, running viruses, installing things. That's kind of what they're designed to do. It's one of the vulnerabilities of thumb drives is that, yeah, they're set up to run automatically when you plug them in. And they like to put viruses in there. They like to put little stickers that say Bitcoin. And you think, oh boy, I'm rich. No, you're not. You've got a virus. We even saw some cases where they were being mailed to businesses with under legitimate pretenses. I remember a bunch of people got envelopes saying, this is from the CDC and contains COVID-19 instructions right in the middle of the pandemic. And of course, it was a thumb drive on it that you plugged in, you got a virus. So just be careful. If you're not sure, bring it to us. We can plug it into a sandbox machine and double check it for you. All right, I'm going to wrap up. You will receive a certificate of completion for being in here. They'll let you know that you attended the training. This is not a test to see if you can detect a shady PDF file. It's just a PDF of your certificate. So we will send that to you for participating in this. Thank you for attending. And does anybody have any questions at this point? I think we're hitting pretty close to the hour. Wow, 4 till, perfect. So yeah, feel free to unmute and pop in there and let me know if you have any questions. And if any burning questions occur to you after this meeting is out, you can always email events@leeshannock.com or call our Tucson or Phoenix line. All right. Nothing. All right. I was so good. Nobody has any more cybersecurity questions ever. All right. Thank you, Shannon. Appreciate you attending. All right, cool. Well, if there aren't any questions, then I'm glad you came. Thank you for attending. Enjoy the rest of your day and stay safe out there.
Thanks, David.
Yeah, of course.